Backrooms is directed by Kane Parsons and is based off of the web series of the same name. After a therapist's patient disappears into a dimension beyond reality, she must venture into the unknown to save him. I have to be totally honest, I'm not overly familiar with the Backrooms series. I watched the original short film the night before seeing this movie, and I did that at like 1 AM in the morning, which in hindsight probably wasn't the best idea. That short film was made by then 16-year-old Kane Parsons, who has now at only 20 years old gone on to direct the feature-length version of it. And honestly, that's what excited me most about Backrooms, that such a young filmmaker was getting such a big opportunity. That is incredibly inspiring, and I was really rooting for him. On top of that, he's managed to get Oscar nominees Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renata Reinsve. And let's start with Kane Parsons' direction here, because I think he has already proved himself to be an incredibly skilled director. He really has an eye for building tension. What I was really impressed with is that he knows when to sit with a scene, and more often than not, he doesn't always give you the release of a jump scare, which for me just really made the film feel tense. The camera is used in really interesting ways, and he has a really cool way of framing this movie as well. That makes this feel claustrophobic, but yet endless like the Backrooms are, so you feel like you're in that space, which is also very much helped by the cinematography and the production design. You can tell they built the Backrooms. These actors are in these tangible spaces. I think that just really creates this immersion that you wouldn't get had they shot this on blue or green screens. Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renata Reinsve are both fantastic in this movie. Chiwetel Ejiofor's character is especially interesting because his character isn't necessarily likable, but he's written in such a way and Ejiofor plays him in such a way where I found myself constantly engaged and intrigued as to what he was going to do next and how his character was going to evolve throughout. No spoilers, of course, but the film develops the characters in such a way which feels relevant to the Backrooms. Now, I will say this is a slow burn. This is a film that takes its time. However, that slow burn really worked for me because the characters were so engaging and also it really helped with the tension. However, I do think Backrooms doesn't fully stick the landing. I won't give it away, but there is something that happens in the third act that comes across as goofy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing generally, but in this film there was nothing goofy before that. So while I totally get what the film was trying to do with that from a story perspective, it did kind of take me out of it. For a lot of Backrooms, it is very ambiguous, and I really liked that about it, that I was having to come up with my own answers. And while it still absolutely leaves you with questions, the film does end up answering a few more questions than I would have liked. I think I'd have been more satisfied had the film left off a bit more ambiguous. Also, I do think there are some comedic moments throughout that do feel a little out of place. I do understand trying to add a bit of lightness in between the horror, but I don't know if it was as well implemented as it could have been. Overall, I really enjoyed Backrooms. I found it to be a really effective and claustrophobic horror movie, although admittedly I think it's more intense than scary, but regardless, it mostly really worked for me despite not fully sticking that landing. I'm going to give Backrooms a B+. Guys, before I end this video, I just want to say I'm really sorry for the fact I have not really done a video this year. My last video was the best movies of 2025 at the beginning of January. I have genuinely just been really busy. And on top of that, I have had some technical issues, meaning I wouldn't have been able to bring you guys the quality of video I would have liked. But I am planning on being back for good now. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. You guys are awesome. Blu-ray Billy, logging off.